Hey guys, what's up? Joe here, uh, bringing to you today another vlog post to catch up on what's been going on with my level 3 in the last week. It has been a crazy, crazy week, to be totally honest. It's been a little bit stressful since my last video. Um, there's been a lot going on. I've obviously, as I've mentioned before in other videos, working my normal full-time job. That has been very, very busy. So last week I had a really busy week with that. I then had some coaching stuff that I was trying to get done, some level 3 stuff that I was trying to get done, which I'll go into some more detail. And then thankfully this week has been a little bit quieter. My partner has been a little bit unwell, so I've been trying to juggle making sure that she's okay. Obviously, keep looking after the dog. Yeah, just a lot of things going on. But we're getting through it. It's fine. We are in coming up to now the second module as part of my level 3 course. So I just wanted to briefly talk a little bit about what is going to come up in there, or what I'm going to be required to do um, in terms of just time frame. I haven't really looked in detail about what's actually going to be contained for the next couple of weeks. I thought I would leave that and maybe put that into next week's video. But I just wanted to talk a little bit about the hours that I'll be doing for that, and then kind of what I've done in the last week to build up to that, because I think there's been some quite interesting things that I've been doing, which hopefully you guys will find interesting too. So firstly, Module 2 face-to-face days are next Thursday and Friday. I have a remote session coming up tomorrow. So the remote session for this one is only going to be 2 hours. So nice and short, from like 9:30 or 9 o'clock to 11 or 11:30. I'm going to check the exact times on that. So yeah, it'll be a nice 2 hour session. And then I've got most of the rest of the week. And then I'm doing Thursday, Friday next week for my face-to-face days. So I'm really looking forward to that. Looking forward to seeing the group of people again. We've had a few messages backwards and forwards about a couple of things. There's a couple of people that I have been messaging individually as well for just some bits of advice and kind of seeing how they're doing and checking in with them. So very distractingly, my dog is kind of sat at my feet at the moment, and he's literally just held himself up on my toes. So I'm not going to be able to move much now. Um, so what has been going on then? Well, I think last week I sort of said that I had quite a lot of things I still needed to cover. So I had the SME subject matter expert videos that I needed to get through. I still had my demo reflections that I needed to do. And I also was trying to get some of my player development work done as well. Now, I probably, in all honesty, so a bit of a reflection personally on this, I think I probably left myself too much work to do in the last week. Part of that has been to do with the fact that I've had a lot of other work that I've needed to do. But realistically, I think I probably could have chipped away at it a little bit more rather than letting it all build and then trying to finish it all literally in the last couple of days. Um, so the SME work was actually really interesting. There was quite a lot to it this time around. So one of them was all around business, looking at things like basic advice on how to manage a business. Obviously, as a tennis coach, that's what you're doing, right? You're self-employed. You're managing your own business. You've got to put things out there for things like marketing. You've got to manage your own finances, your own accounting. You've also got to think about potentially having contracts with clubs. You've also got to think about having kind of systems set up in place for managing payments. If you're running programs and those sorts of things, having like scheduled payments or things like that. So the business side of things was really in depth, covering quite a lot of detail on that front, and that was really, really good. There were actually four sections underneath the business one, and I'm glad that it went into that much detail. So there's some stuff in there that I already kind of knew and things like that, but there's just some stuff in there which, a lot of it is kind of common sense, but just kind of reiterating a lot of that. And there was some new stuff which I was thinking, I really need to try to implement some of this if I do try to take coaching on more regularly. Um, the other SME one that I did, which was also very interesting, probably sort of very content heavy, I would say. And the way in which it was presented, I'm not necessarily as much of a fan of, but I still got through it, and that was all about program management. So thinking about what programs could be run. So, for example, if you are kind of a head coach at a club or you're the main coach at a club, how to think about what programs you might be running, how to plan those programs, how to have kind of good goals in place for those programs as well. So kind of tracking things like, okay, well, how many people are you going to open the program up to? Um, how are you going to track the number of bookings that you get? You need to track things like if people drop out, if you have cancellations, the people that turn up, all of these kinds of things. So keep tracking all of that then gives you information, data that can then be used later on, that can then give you insight, I guess, into understanding what is working and what is not working. So one of the examples they give is, for example, if you set up two programs, one of them you're getting a retention rate of say like 90%, and then you're getting people booking out back onto that one. Maybe you open up that one a little bit more and you run a second one or a second session or something like that. Whereas if you're running a different one and you're seeing people cancelling a lot, or you're getting issues, and it's obviously maybe time to assess and to look at why you might be getting that. And in some case, it might just be best to cancel those sessions, or to cancel that program and do something different. Um, Also kind of talking a little bit around the idea of like starting small and then opening it up as well. So that was really, really useful. There was some stuff in sort of the videos as well around looking for jobs and things like that. So where you can look for jobs, that was more in the business one. But there are obviously more permanent coaching roles. So some clubs will open out kind of a permanent coaching position, especially if you're looking at things like leisure centres and things like that. Whereas your more local tennis clubs tend not to do that, and you tend to be a little bit more self-employed, and you have to be a little bit more self-driven. So it's good to kind of get that spread and that understanding of the different aspects of that. And those have been some really useful videos. So that was all very good. Um, the other part of it, as I said, so I also did my demo and feeding work like 2 weeks ago, nearly now. I then had the videos for a while, which I just hadn't assessed. And I think I mentioned in one of my videos that I need to do this kind of red, amber, green analysis. So looking at both the outcome of the shot and also the process that I was demonstrating to hit the shot as well. For the most part, I think I did fairly well. It's not really meant to be anything to trip you up or anything. It's just a bit of self-analysis. And there were a couple of areas that obviously need improvement. So my double-handed backhand, the outcome of that was pretty low. Actually, my process I think I did pretty well on. So I think I did quite well at actually demonstrating it in terms of showing how to prepare for the shot, the movement out to the ball, the swing path, and then the recovery. I think I actually showed all of that very well. I just struggled to get the outcome to do what I wanted to do. So that's just an area for me to work on. There was also a couple of things as well. I needed to be able to hit an angled cross court forehand, and again, demonstration wise was pretty good. The process was pretty good, but from an outcome point of view, it did lack a little bit. So again, that's another area that I'll try and focus in a little bit more. But for the most part, my serving was generally actually not too bad. I probably could have, the serving maybe, again, outcome-wise was probably a little bit off. I'm working quite a lot personally to try and improve my serving technique at the moment anyway. So there's a little bit around that. And that's kind of my three key areas that I've identified to improve on for that. So that's all done as well. So I did that analysis. Excuse me, I uploaded what I needed to get that all done and signed off. The final thing that I needed to do as well, or the final thing that I have been working on, which isn't necessarily as pressing in terms of needing to get it done before the module 2. So all the stuff that I've spoken about so far with regards to my reflections, my demo and feeding task, and the SME work, all of that is required to be completed before the start of module 2. I think I mentioned one of my first videos, and if you're interested, please do go and look back at some of the earlier vlogs that I did, because I do outline a lot of this process in more detail. But I talk about the fact that the kind of coursework side of things needs to be completed before the start of the next module. So I've completed all of the module 1 coursework, ready for module 2, and there's a professionalism score that I get for submitting all of that on time. But the other thing that I have been working on in the background as well is this player development project. So as I mentioned before, I've identified a player, and then last weekend I got him playing a match against someone who was a sort of, no, maybe not quite exactly similar standard, but someone who gave him a good match. So I think the score in the end was 6-3, 6-2. The match lasted for maybe like an hour and 10. I got some really good footage. And I've just been trying to figure out the best way of doing the analysis on this at the moment, to then kind of talk to my player about what does he want to work on, what are the goals, and what things are we going to set moving forwards. Now, I heard that, so I've been aware of a piece of software called Swing Vision before. Just kind of as a side note on this, I'm not sponsored or affiliated or anything with Swing Vision. It's just, I'm just letting you guys know what I'm using. So Swing Vision is a really, really cool bit of software where you can basically, if you can either record directly into the app, or you can use footage that you've taken and you can put it onto the app, and it will then use AI to analyze kind of shot speeds, ball placements, timings, all of this kind of stuff. So really, really cool piece of software. Unfortunately, I had a couple of issues with this. So the one issue was it's currently only available on Apple operating systems. So Thankfully, my partner uses Apple, and I borrowed her Mac and was able to get my video footage onto the Mac. But the next problem I then had was the fact that it needs to be the videos need to be recorded in 60 frames a second and not 30 frames a second, which is what my camera is standardly set to, is 30 frames a second. So I then had to run it through some video editing software to basically do like a frame duplication. And what that then did is that like forced it into like a 60 frame a second so that the swing vision would then accept the video. Now, I did all of that, managed to get the video uploaded on there. The other thing that I then realized was that, and this is all part of the learning process, right? The other thing that I then realized was that I'd actually not filmed the video from the best angle. So I kind of filmed it from behind the court. And so the baseline and the service line on the far side of the court, you could see through the net. This wasn't too bad. This wasn't too much of a problem, but it does mean that the software doesn't pick up the ball landing and the ball position on the other side of the net as well. And because the quality of the video and everything else was a little bit lower than maybe it needed, there's definitely a couple of areas where it's not picked up the points quite as well, or it's not picked up the shots quite as well. So, a couple of times when they're hitting a forehand, especially whoever's playing on the far end, they're hitting a forehand and then it's recording it as a backhand. Those sorts of things are kind of happening occasionally. So I'm having to comb through the video pretty carefully. It is very useful for the fact that what it has basically done is it's basically cut down all the video automatically for me. So I put in, this hour and 10, hour and 15 video. And what it then does is it basically just identifies where the start and the end of each of the points is. So it basically cuts the video down to be just the points. And then it means I can go in, I can review each point, and then I get there's like a little shot tracker that comes up. So it tells you, is it a topspin forehand or a slice backhand or whatever it is. It tells you what it is. It does tell you a speed as well, but that's not going to be hugely accurate from the angle that I was taking it at. So I'm not too interested in that. And then it gives you a little kind of diagram of the ball placements as well. And again, there's had to be some tweaking with the ball placements, but you can go in and you can kind of tweak the shots as you need to. You can, if it has missed a shot in a rally or there's some issues with like the shot timing, you can go and you can fiddle with those as well. And you can add shots into rallies and things like that. And then you can also change the outcome of the point in terms of what it thinks is the outcome. So sometimes, for example, as a lot of tennis players do, someone calls a ball out, they hit a shot back, and then the person who hit the ball out hits like another shot and it goes past them. And the Swing Vision software thinks that the other person has won the point. So what I'm then having to do is to go in and kind of go, actually, no, this ball was out, correct that, and then change in the point details to say, such and such won this point by an unforced error on the forehand or something like that. So that's taken me a little bit of time. I'm nearly done on that. It's picked up that there was 101 points in total. I'm on point 70, so I'm hopefully going to get through the rest of those today. The other slightly annoying thing that I didn't realize is that to get the full match stats, all that I want, so things like first serve and second serve percentages and points won and all those kinds of things, I have to pay for it. Now, thankfully, there's a 30-day free trial. So what I'm going to try and do is I'm going to try and get all the footage and everything as nice as I can. And I'm expecting there to be a little bit of error in this, right? I'm hoping for like 90% accuracy on this. I'm not expecting 100%, but I'm going to get all the points and everything looking really, really neat as best I can. Make sure that it's tracked who has won and lost the points correctly as well. So I'm going to go back through all the points again and just check to see who it's saying has won the points and how they won it. And then once I've done all of that, I'm then going to try the 30-day trial, take all of the data off it that I can. So I'm going to record all the data somewhere, and then I'll be able to sit down with my player and go, right, here is the data, here is some of the footage, here's what I've seen, these are the things I think we need to work on, agree that with them, and then we can get the process going with doing some lessons and then getting some filming in the lessons as well. So that's a lot covered there. I think I said, it's been a really busy week for me with the level 3 stuff. I've made a bit of a mistake not getting on top of some of it sooner. I'm really trying to catch up a little bit now. I think I've done a pretty decent job. And as I said, with the player development work, that needs to be submitted, I believe, before the start of Module 4, which is kind of in May time, end of April, May. So I don't have loads of time on that. We're already kind of, at the end of Feb now. So I've got March and I've got April to get through it, which is fine. I've got 2 months, but I just need to make sure I'm on top of it. I need to make sure I'm getting those lessons in, getting the recordings done, alongside doing everything else. So, getting that regular time in, and just kind of keep chipping away at it a little bit more rather than letting it build up so much. Anyway, I'm going to stop it there. Again, as always, if anyone has been watching this, Thank you so much for sticking with me, for coming with me on this journey. I really appreciate any views that I get. I also really appreciate if I get a like, a comment, any follows. Please do hit those buttons. It really helps me out as well. Gets this out there to more people who might also be doing similar things and want to know more about this information. So thank you again, and I'll speak to you all next time. Take care. Bye bye.